Hello, this is Zane Allen, the West Coast IT hipster, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to use Pure Enterprise Data Platform to power Veeam's DR Orchestrator, a tool that lets you build preset DR plans to aid in effortless restore during a DR event or a malware outbreak. So let's get into it. Right. First here, we have the Veeam VBR server. Let's use the original VBR server as a backup job, which is backing up 2 VMs. And it also has a configuration file that's being written to the same repository as those VMs. That configuration file is being written local, and then there's a file copy job to get it to that repository. That repository is backed by Pure, which is replicated to the secondary site. Now we're going to simulate a failure. In this demo, I'm just going to turn off the VM. But of course, this is a simulated failure in the environment where the Veeam server is no longer available. So we'll simply power that off in the VMs here in my vCenter. Then we'll move to the Disaster Recovery Orchestrator UI, where we'll check the DR plan. We'll do a check for the plan. While that's running, we'll go see that the agent has gone offline. And thus, because the Veeam server is offline, we're not able to use the restore plan and actually restore those VMs or the backup data. So we need to correct that. And as the original Veeam server isn't available to us, we're going to have to do this on a new Veeam server. So let's jump over to that VM. So here I have a new Windows VM, which I had already installed Veeam pre-installed on it. This could have been installed in kind of a warm standby, or you could install it at this point. Let's simply go to the disk management. And because I've already pre-attached that replicated volume that's replicated with ADR to that secondary array attached to this Windows machine, I'm able to simply promote it and bring it online. And since that data has been replicating that entire time, we're going to simply see that backup data, which has that config file in it, begin the rebuild process. So we go in the Pure GUI here in the UI. We see that demoted volume there. That's my Veeam VRO volume. Simply promote it. Again, bring it online. It's already pre-attached to that host, right? I can do this all ahead of time. I don't have to do this at the time of DR. I can test this offline even so that it's really a simple action during the DR event. While that's promoting, we just wait a few seconds, let it bring it online. Then we're going to go ahead and jump back into that Windows box and bring that volume up, see that data, and get on with that recovery process. So there you go. We got it promoted. I'm going to come right back in here, that disk management. We're going to bring that volume online. It says backup ADR. It's already formatted. Again, it's a replicated volume from that other Veeam server. So we see it immediately, right? Not a few simple clicks, and I'm back up and running. Now, because of that built-in resiliency of Veeam, I'm able to, first of all, see the backup files. Even if I didn't have the config file, we can get to restoring. But since I do have that config file here, I'm going to use that to make this new Veeam server essentially have all the settings and configurations of the old Veeam server so that VDR will recognize it. So go ahead and launch Veeam. It's a really easy tool. And by the way, this configuration file is written automatically. I just set up that file job, copy job, as you noticed earlier. This is set up automatically to go to your first repository of the environment, and it even prompts you to put it into a second one as you start setting up subsequent repositories, right? So just always remember to get that onto replicated volume, or even one backed up with safe mode for protection. So it's newly installed. It's going to quickly update the components there. Again, you kind of simulate a brand new Veeam install. As you can see, nothing's there, no backup jobs, no configuration, fresh out the box. I'm going to go right in there under what they call the hamburger menu, the configuration menu. Go right into this configuration backup settings. You can see it's already starting to back up its own. And we're simply going to hit restore. Now, once that's running, just going to bring in all those configuration files. We see this running here, kind of sped up. I'm going to make sure I have my credentials put in there. So it brings those over. Again, just to eliminate that step, having to do it later. and Veeam's going to take all that configuration settings and everything that I've input and make this Veeam server look like the old Veeam server, right? Maybe new IP, maybe new address, but all the configuration settings. So now we're going to jump back into the VRO server, the Veeam Orchestrator. We're going to pull out that old agent, right? The agent's how it connects to the VBR server for settings. We need to make sure that that's removed so it doesn't get confused because we just replaced the config file on the new Veeam server. And then go ahead and install the new agent, right? Push the new agent to that new VBR server so it gets those settings, that configuration, that connection made so that I can get back to work of restoring our data into our DR environment. So once that agent is installed, we'll be able to go back over to the DR plan, run another health check. And because that Veeam server is online, that data is the same, it's registered in VRO or the Veeam Orchestrator server, we'll be able to complete our DR plan, right? I can see the server. We can make that DR plan work. I can even run the original. If the original environment was in place, I could restore it. But, from a VRO or a Veeam Orchestrator perspective, it sees that data. So let's just run that orchestration plan, right? This preset plan's already been tested. I enable it. I run it. I put in the admin credentials. The restore process happens based on the settings that I set into VRO. Not something we get into in this video, but know that you can have all the steps that I knew in a pre-built, right? A run book, if you will, of all what that restore process looks like. So I don't have to think of that on the fly, right? I can build that over time and test it and make sure that it's exactly the DR scenario I need, making it very easy for me to restore data, right? As well as make sure I don't make any mistakes, right? Mitigate any mistakes during that restore process to make sure I get back up and running as quick and as effortlessly as I possibly can. And there you have it. Quick and easy DR with effortless management, powered by Veeam for restores, run books by the Veeam Orchestrator, resiliency offered by the enterprise data platform, which Pure has to offer. This has been Zane Allen, West Coast IT Hipster. And until next time, thank you for watching.